Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
The following interview was done live at Publishers Weekly corporate office in New York City during a meeting between Texas authors and Carl Pritzkat, the director of Book Life, which is a division of Publishers Weekly. What started Book Life and what its intent is?
So Publishers Weekly has been around for 150 years. The publisher of Publishers Weekly in the late 80s and early 90s is a fellow named George Slowick. And then he left PW in 1992 and went into publishing other magazines. And then in 2009, maybe the end of 2009, he was contacted and told that Publishers Weekly was up for sale, and that Reed Elsevier, which owned it, was basically liquidating everything, most of their trade publications, which included Library Journal and School Library Journal and Publishers Weekly. At the time, they were operated as the three together. And George came to me at that time, and I'd been working with George since 1995 on a bunch of online projects, because he had founded Out Magazine, and so we had built the website for that, and then he had gone on and done some health and medical things. So I'd been working with him at that time. He said, listen, I think we're going to be able to buy Publishers Weekly, and would you be up for helping out? I said, yeah, absolutely. So in April 1st, 2010, he bought Publishers Weekly, and it was a crazy situation where Reed Elsevier said, you got 60 days to get out of the facilities, you got to get out of everything, you got to get out of the website, everything. So it was a scramble, but he did that. And he had a very strong vision about self-published books. At the time, as you know, that's just about the time that you were starting out, a lot of people were like, self-published, it's vanity, it's crap, it doesn't have any value or anything like this, but he felt very strongly that it did. And so he created this program called PW Select at the time, which allowed people to buy that listing, and then it would make them eligible to receive a review. Now, it didn't guarantee a review, but it made it eligible for a review. And everybody at the time was like, you're crazy, this is going to not work out, or anything like that. Well, it did incredibly well. And so as we could see the groundswell of interest in it, in self-publishing, again, as you know, it's just gone up and up and up and up and up. So we decided finally in 2013 that we needed to create a website that was completely dedicated to self-published authors. And additionally, we also decided that we would make peer review consideration completely free, so there would never be any barrier or never perceived barrier of that you had to buy a review or you had to pay for a review. So if you had created a book that was of professional quality, then Publishers Weekly would review it and would circulate that review like it does any other of its reviews. So that was sort of went hand in hand at the time, and that's when Book Life was born. And it's been, again, probably like your experience, you just keep opening up new areas of interest, of need, where people, as you say, people need a lot of education, they need a lot of encouragement, I think, more than anything else, because it's very isolating to be a writer and very super isolating to be a self-published writer. So to have somebody treat you like an author and take you seriously, I think is a big part of what we do. And then we try to make sure that we have content, tapping into PW's expertise and experience and saying, okay, this is what Publishers Weekly knows about marketing or distribution or editing or cover design or all these types of things, making sure that that's very available to people, but then also helping them celebrate the successes of what other self-published authors are doing, so that they'll feel that motivation and really feel like, yeah, this is something I want to do, even though there's a lot of hurdles and it's expensive and time consuming and all those things. So that's sort of how we got there, and it's been very gratifying and very exciting. Again, to see not only the quantity, but some of the quality. We've given out starred reviews. Publishers Weekly has given out starred reviews, gives them out quite a bit to self-published authors. That's the highest level of a review that Publishers Weekly can give out. And so, which is, really amazing achievement for people to have that. And to also hear stories that would not be normally heard through the standard publishing companies, the gatekeepers.
Right.
That's important too. So it's great. I mean, again, I'm sure that those are all the things that keep you inspired for doing this and being involved in this.
Right. So, out of curiosity, the reviews process. I mean, the fact that it's free, you're getting inundated with tons of books.
Right.
Kirkus, even though they have started off as free, are now charging a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like them, a star review is one of the highest points you can get. How would you define the difference between your way of doing reviews versus theirs? Other than free.
Right, exactly. And that's it right there. That's the bottom line. We use quality as the sole consideration for whether we're going to review a book. And it doesn't matter whether you have the money or not. If your book meets professional standards, we will review it. And that's not what they do. They charge for it. And they're doing great with that, and I don't besmirch anything about what they're doing, but we feel that, especially because of the role that we play in the book publishing industry with our reviews, that if we were to say, oh, well, we'll only review something if you pay for it, that's not a valid thing. Every bookseller and librarian is relying upon our voice to say, these are the books that you need to bring in. So we don't want to say, well, these are the books that somebody paid us to look at for you to bring in. So we get about, not self-pub, but total, we get about 25,000 submissions a year.
I'm surprised it's not larger.
Right, I know. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's still a lot. And of that, we review about 9,000. So, there's a lot of books that we don't review that are probably deserving reviews, and and in some cases we would like to review. It's a very difficult thing to make those selections. And self-publishing is just one more sort of piece of the puzzle that our editors have to consider when they're doing this. But the bottom line is about quality and making sure if it's a good book that deserves a review that booksellers and librarians should know about, that's what we do. We give it the review.
What is the time period you recommend for people to submit their book, even if it's, I assume, a manuscript, so that by the time it is officially released, they hopefully have a review? Well,
with traditionally published books, we ask for books, 4 to 6 months in advance. We take it a little less than that, but pre-publish is a really important part of the review process we're doing for traditional books. We recognize that's not a reality for most self-published authors who are, hustling to get something out, and when it's ready, it goes out. They don't have long lead times or those types of things. So we don't have that requirement for self-published book. Nonetheless, it's better to have the review come as soon to release as possible.
Right.
I think the absolutely most important consideration for somebody giving us a book is to make sure it has been thoroughly and professionally edited. And the same thing with the cover and interior design as well, because our editors, like every other book consumer in the world, pick a book up and look at it, or go online and look at it and judge the book by the cover. Then they open that first thing and they read the first sentence. And if there's an error in that first sentence, or if there's something wrong in any aspect of the first sentence, the first paragraph, the first chapter, then that's going to prejudice them against the book. So we would rather have somebody wait until all of that is in place and they've given it their best shot, and hopefully they've engaged a team of professionals who have helped them out, then send it in to us. And if it's self-published, we're not as concerned about the pub date.
Yeah, as long as everything else is good. We actually have been pushing over the last year for people to start looking at creating that lead time so that they can map out their marketing, so they can get those reviews in line.
That's great.
Because it is so critical. And we have some authors that, a good example, we have one that does a book every 9 months and immediately gets it out.
Right.
And then they start getting the ebook out, and then they start getting the audiobook out all so quick.
Right.
They really haven't had time to properly market and get it going.
Yeah, sure.
So they're hurting themselves
Yeah.
by doing that.
Totally.
So that's one thing we've been pushing. You mentioned earlier that at one time Library Journal was part of this group.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they're off and they have their self-published program, are they still part of Publishers Weekly in any way? They're
No,
totally separate.
No, totally
now?
separate. In 2010, they were split off, and so I mean, I think there are people here who know those people, and we have a collegial relationship with them.
Right.
But there's no relationship, no formal or business tie to them.
Yeah, even though publishing's big, it's also small.
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows
right.
everybody.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, which is some of the joy of it, you know. I mean, that's the funny thing about working in New York City, though, is you can have a very distorted view. I mean, exactly what you said. There is incredible publishing going on in every state in the union, in every location in the world. And so New York can tend to have a very skewed perspective of what publishing is and what that club looks like. And so that's one of the most exciting things about self-publishing is that club gets to be redefined or blown apart into, you know, relationships that are maybe more valid in some ways than that. So, but yeah, it remains a small community, and you probably see this when you even have local events that, oh yeah, there's people there who know each other from some other world, and I think people who want to tell stories and who want to use the book in its many growing permutations as a way to tell those stories. That's a particular group of people in the world, and it's broader than we thought. So there's 1 million books being published a year, and probably 700,000 of them are somebody's recipe collection for their family, or the family history of their uncle who, when he was in the military, or their aunt when she was, you know, working here. Those are still valid, very important stories that need to be told, and so it's a great thing that's being done, and so that the people who are drawn to that are probably a particular group of people, right? But it's a much broader group of people than it used to be, which is great.
We're going to step away and allow our sponsors to do their thing, and we will be right back with the interview with Carl Pritzkat and Publishers Weekly Book Life Division.
A new online bookstore, IndieLector.store, is unlike any other. IndieLector.store offers great prices from top indie authors and supports authors at the same time by paying them more for their books. IndieLector.store has a readers club that gives you free books and special deals. Watch the IndieLector.store continue to grow before it opens in the fall of 2019 at IndieLector.store.
Howdy, I'm John Cruder, the Midnight Marauder. I guess you might say that I'm a vigilante who rights the wrongs I see along my many travels to balance the scales of justice, especially those of the corrupt and murderous members of the Town Council of Bandera, Texas. You can follow my many adventures in a series of Midnight Marauder books written by Roy Clinton on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com. Or, if you prefer, listen to my adventures in audiobook form by downloading them from Audible.com or iTunes. This is R. William James, the voice of the Midnight Marauder.
Do you love to read great new ebooks? Visit EBG247.com. Be the first to discover the next bestseller. At EBG247, we have the web's largest selection of great new book reads, from that amazing new fiction or nonfiction to horror, romance, and fantasy. We even have today's best children's books. That's EBG247.com. New books arrive daily, and all ebooks start at just 99 cents. If you love to read, then you'll love EBG247.com. Low prices, large selection, and an easy-to-use website. It's all only at EBG247.com.
Headlines. Cryptocurrency vultures are circling around failing governments. Darknet predators are rushing to market with their newest digital product. They promise economic salvation, even as they coupon clip straight from your digital wallet. The newest techno-thriller installment from Brakefield and Berkey, The Enigma Source. Book 10 of the Enigma series continues the combat of cyber good guys versus cyber thugs set in today's digital landscape. Love to read? Love to meet authors in person? Then check out bookfestival.network to find a book festival in your region of Texas. We are adding book festival events throughout the year, so sign up to get notices and even a coupon towards purchase of a Texas author's book. Sign up at bookfestival.network. Hello, Texas authors. My name is Randy James, coming to you from my Carrollton recording studio, where I spend time writing and producing commercials for my radio endorsement clients, as well as my private freelance clients. I'd like the opportunity to help you sell more books with a commercial like this and get listeners of Dear Texas Radio excited about your title, all at a special introductory price, available to members of the Texas Association of Authors. Call or text 214-762-1942. That's 214-762-1942. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Welcome back. You are listening to a live interview that was done at Publishers Weekly's corporate office in New York City with Carl Pritzkat, the director of Book Life, a division of Publishers Weekly.
Now, for Book Life, why would you recommend someone participating in or joining that family?
The access to great information, and it's all free. I mean, you can get the best that Book Life has to offer is all free. And so one of it is access to PW's information about how to hopefully help you succeed in self-publishing or publishing your own books. The second thing, which people really like, is the idea that they can submit their book for free to Publishers Weekly for review consideration. So that's the channel that we use for people to submit, sort of to traffic their submissions for PW review consideration. And then there's also online tools, or you can have a listing for all your books on there. You can have a page about yourself. You can post news and reviews of your books on there, and all of that's free as well. So it can become, if you need it, sort of an anchor page for your online presence, or one other aspect of your online presence. And because of the size of Book Life, Google treats it very well. So a lot of times when you create your profile page and your book page on Book Life, it's going to rate very well in search engine, in Google results. So it's a good place for that. And again, all of that is free. And when you post news items on it, they automatically get posted onto the homepage of Book Life as well. When you become a member, you automatically sign up for our weekly newsletter, which you know and has, hopefully the latest and greatest on things that are helping you. It doesn't have squirrel, but it has other things in it. So that's sort of the pitch, is you're becoming part of a community that's going to hopefully help you succeed and hopefully make you feel like the author that you are and give you that attention. And then we always are, hawking our opportunities for promotion, whether you want to, do the $150 thing in Publishers Weekly, or, participate in a trade fair or something like that. But most people, they're there for the free opportunities that are there and the information.
In reference to the Select, which I believe you just said was $150 to do, how many readers do you have for PW?
PW, the paid circulation of the magazine is 16,000, but the pass along is another 45,000. So we say there's 60,000 readers of the actual magazine. Every bookseller in the country receives a copy of Publishers Weekly, and I forget how many thousands of libraries subscribe to it as well. And that's really what we're known for, is the librarians and booksellers use us to make their purchasing decisions. Then on top of that, there's the publishing industry as a whole, which reads it, including agents and book publishers and scouts, Hollywood scouts who are looking for rights, and that type of thing. So it's a trade audience. We're not a consumer magazine. The print magazine is not a consumer magazine. It's really, the PW Select program is for people who are making a concerted effort to reach booksellers and librarians, or to have some impact in the book publishing trade. On top of that, we have the PW website gets about 1 million visitors a month. It's about 1.1 million visitors a month, who are mainly coming for the reviews. So we do have a lot of traffic that comes to that. And if somebody wants to advertise on that site, that can make very good sense for them. But for the most part, if they're going to run in PW Select, it's not because they want to get people to buy their book, it's because they want to get librarians and booksellers to notice their book, maybe to bring it in and buy it, or because they're making a play, a more concerted play to the book publishing trade. We've had people, a lot of times it's rights people like Hollywood scouts or something like that who will see an interesting plot or something like that and say, okay, that's interesting, and they'll reach out to people that way too. So that's the reason why people participate in it.
So from a marketing perspective, I mean, with that many people looking at the reviews, you're talking about pennies,
right?
Less than pennies, for review people to actually see those reviews or those comments and select and stuff like that. So it's well worth it financially.
Right. I mean, it's really important because the one thing I really do try to say to people is, like, if you're looking for consumers, you guys probably have your approaches to that. Do your Facebook ads or your whatever the thing to get people to actually buy your books. I wouldn't recommend it here, but it is about reaching the book publishing industry, the trade, especially those booksellers and librarians. If that's what you want, it's really well worth it. It's
the agents and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Okay. Cool. What would you recommend, or words of encouragement for somebody who's getting into the market?
Well, I mean, you have to know the story that you want to tell. I think that's really important. Why are you doing this? What's your reason for doing this? But then the flip side of that is, who are you telling the story to? And I think when you figure that out, and it's not like, I think every child in America should read this book, or every adult in America. No. Truthfully, who are you telling the story to? Because that'll help you market it. That'll help you make marketing decisions. If you say that, oh wow, I'm telling a story of somebody who overcame great odds because they had some sort of health situation, and then from that they were able to have the family they never thought they could. Okay, so who are you trying to tell it to? Somebody who's facing the same odds. Okay, where are those people who are facing those same odds? Where can you reach them? How can you reach them? And how can you make sure they know that you've got this story that's for them? So that to me is always sort of the simple. Those are the simple questions that you start with. As you know, it's more and more complicated as you delve deeper into that.
Yeah, because it's never that simple for the writer.
Right. Oh, right. Absolutely. So, but yeah, and right, that it's incredible that we have these incredible tools available to us now, and that they're fantastic. Don't be dissuaded by it. I mean, as long as your expectations are realistic, again, tell a story. Tell someone a story. What's the story? Who's the someone? If you can figure that out, you're probably a long way there.
You mentioned tools. So what does Book Life or Publishers Weekly have that's coming out in the future that you can talk about? Some new avenues that you're looking at?
Oh, that's a good question, because we look at all aspects of the publishing process, which includes, we sort of break them into three things, which is the create, the publish, and then the market part of it. And I think in all of those places, in the create process, I really feel like people need a team to help them create. If their goal is to try to create a book that's on a professional level, they need to create that professional team. we have our services directory for that, which hopefully allows you to go in and say, wow, I do need an editor, and let me go in here and look and see who do people recommend, who's out there, who's available. Same thing with design. Similarly, as you get into the publish and to the market model, we have tried to, we are constantly trying to find people who we can recommend, especially I think on the earlier parts. The marketing side, I think the choices out there are a little more obvious, and I think most people tend to feel like, well, I know how to write a book, and here's my book. Now I need to market it. Now I need help marketing. What we're trying to do is to get people to hopefully pay a little more attention early on, and so we're always trying to find partners that we can, partner with to do that. We are doing something with Writer's Digest at the end of September. They're having a conference about some of that we're going to be participating in. And we worked with Ingram to also try and have some sort of one-on-one events for people to figure those things out. So we're going to keep trying to do those types of things. And then also trying to help people in terms of some of their distribution challenges as well. So we're trying to find some ways that'll help people that way. One thing I should absolutely mention, which I forgot to mention, we're just wrapping up our 3rd annual Book Life Prize, which is a $5,000 prize, but what it really is a way to be able to get feedback, constructive feedback from a Publishers Weekly reviewer. So it's a $99 entry fee, but you get a fairly solid assessment from a PW reviewer for your entry. We use that assessment and the score they give you to as the judging for the prize. But for most people, it gives them a marketing copy from a PW reviewer that they can say, oh, publishers, Book Life Prize says that this book has great characters that are, come to life, blah, 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 that type of thing. And if it's not good, we give them, constructive, tough love, right?
Tough love.
Basically saying like, wow, this really ambles, or two-dimensional, this or that, which is, people don't like a lot, but nonetheless, I think we give a very good value on that. And so this, every year we get more people entering in it, and we get, fantastic books in there, books that get 10 out of 10s, and then we get books that get, Right. So that's been a really successful thing, and people have, I think they come back to it as well, because it's a great, inexpensive way to get some really meaty feedback on what they're doing. So, and we're gonna continue to refine that and develop that. Something we can't talk about yet is we're going to try and have something adjunct to that. We don't do it for nonfiction, and because nonfiction is very difficult to judge on a quick basis without fact checking and some more knowledge that way. So we're trying to develop a program that will give that level of support to nonfiction writers as well. So we have something in the works on that, which will hopefully be coming soon.
You mentioned you're wrapping it up. So when do you start accepting entries?
We usually run it from April 1st through August 31st. So we've got 2 more weeks.
Good, because the show probably air after that.
Right, yeah,
so
yeah,
get ready
exactly.
for it.
Right. It's, next year have them, take a look at that. So, but it's been great. It's been really good, and it's not. It allows us to give a way for everybody to participate. They can plunk down their money and get that feedback, but it's not a PW review. PW review remains something that's free and available to anybody, and especially in terms of our commitment to the libraries and the booksellers, that it keeps that intact as well.
Texas Authors is proud to be a supporter of IndieBeacon.com, a website that supports indie authors from around the world. If you are looking for help with marketing or getting published, IndieBeacon.com can assist you. Years of experience by the founder is available to any indie author looking for help. IndieBeacon.com, a place for creative souls to find help in marketing their creations. Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.